Well, those of you who have been watching from the start this morning will know I've been all over the place today. And if there's one person guaranteed to get me back on straight, because she boxes my ears, in fact, to put it indelicately, she kicks my bloody ass to get me going. It's Liza Page.
Would I do such a thing? Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
And here she is with her controversial and alternative views. And delighted to see you back because you've been away for the last two weeks, and
Yes.
you've been doing some worthy things in the background, and we're always happy to give you a little leave of absence when you're doing worthy things. But here you are back to do even more worthy things and to let us know what we call the alternative view.
Yes. I've missed you. I've missed you all very, very much.
Well,
happy to be back.
That's good. That's good. I mean, one of the things that is really very nice is that our team is building very, very nicely. As we pointed out yesterday, is we really don't have too much youth. But you know, it is, and I get a bit upset, I suppose, and I shouldn't. But when I was 21, 22, 23, I worked for free for a CBC. I mean, big organization, because they didn't take you on until they blooded you.
Yeah.
And I worked very hard to get in first rung of the ladder. People of our generation, you and Stuart and now Richard and so on, is we give of our time to do television and come on and pass on what we think is important.
No,
but can we get the youngsters to do it?
No, but you've got to look at it this way. When we're young, we take from life. When we're old, we give back to life.
But that's where it's changed. Because actually, when I was 21, 22, I was dead keen to make sure that I was making a contribution. I do think probably it's because everybody is ho-hum about the internet. But I'm getting sick and tired, and people saying, well, if you get onto YouTube, it's also is apparently yesterday somebody gave me a statistic that there is 400 hours of video uploaded to YouTube per minute.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yes, I would imagine
so. So get on YouTube, and it's going to be, there are millions and millions and millions of things out there. And we really have to work hard at it. And I think that these children think that the moment they're on YouTube, everybody's watching them.
Well, if you get one view, I mean, you're rather lucky, but your chances of getting that one view are very good. Yes, it goes all over the world.
Well, yeah, that one view is yourself looking at it. Well, I'm happy to say that we are tipping around, not just from YouTube and so on. We're tipping around from 3 to 5,000. And we're growing all the time because one of the things like LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook, they send me things every week. They call them notifications, and we increase sometimes sort of 10 or 12 a week.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't sound very much until you multiply that by 52. Mm-hmm. But the other day, I say the other day, it was about 2 weeks ago, I was absolutely gobsmacked. And in fact, I phoned you, I think, straight away, is we actually picked up 1,800 viewers.
Wonderful.
I mean, that's terrific. And we're obviously getting to somebody.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's good stuff. Now, I've been wandering around all over the place this morning. I haven't been concentrating, but Liza is concentrating very much and does her research. So what have you got to talk to us about today?
I'd like to start off because this is heavy weight stuff. And it's very frightening indeed, because it seems our king has sold us down the river.
Our who?
Our king.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. Now let me have a look here. I'm sorry, not with it. Yeah. Well, look, I don't have to read this, do I? I
No.
can tell it.
You paraphrase. In fact, I prefer you did.
Yeah, the king has given carte blanche to Schwab, Bill Gates, in other words, the WEF.
Right.
He has given them total authority to come into Britain and do exactly as they want. With our agriculture, nobody has to, they don't have to say what on labels, what the food contains or anything like that. And it's it's absolutely awful.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
if I can just right at the very start, is I would not challenge you on the fact that Schwab has been given a carte blanche to move into the UK, but we are a constitutional monarchy, and essentially the monarch is a figurehead. He doesn't have much authority. So why are you laying the blame at the feet of King Charles?
Because according to this,
What's this?
well, my writings that
Right,
I
right,
took
yeah,
down,
yeah.
he by doing this, he is committing treason,
Yeah, but
which is very dark.
But I'm asking you, what's the authority to say that he has done it? Because he in the constitution he doesn't have the authority to do it.
Well, he's very pally and jolly with this lot. What I've got here, one of the more shocking hypocrisies of the year so far is Charles III, King of England, considered to be a strong supporter of organic farming and environmental causes, has given his royal assent to a biotechnology innovation which will provide an open book for UK firms to alter the genome of animals and plants so as to create novel engineered species and biotech foods.
Yes. Now, who's? I'm going to challenge you this morning because we haven't played tennis for a while.
No, please do. No. Oh, I missed those games.
Yeah. Now, royal assent.
Yes.
Is when legislation is put before Parliament, it then goes to the King for signature. But he has very little to do with actually the content. What he does is he puts his stamp of approval on it, but for him not to would be very, very unusual. So are we actually, even though whoever this writer is, or who is not interpreting a constitutional monarchy correctly, and in fact the real villains are our Parliament?
Well, yes, but he didn't have to give his consent, did
No, he does.
He does have to.
Constitutionally, he has to.
So he
He can, in theory, he can say no. But it hasn't happened in about 400 years because essentially the way a constitutional monarchy works is we have a constitution, that's how we're governed, by the constitution, and that the king has to follow the constitution, which actually says that he is he's head of state, but the powers that he has are very, very limited, and that really the authority lies with Parliament. So I'm wondering whether, in fact, what you are highlighting is that actually it is the people sitting in Parliament that actually are the naughty ones.
I'm very, very sure it is, but I thought they still had to have his approval.
Yeah, well,
they
do have to have his
Otherwise, what's the good of him being there?
Well, the point really is that a constitutional monarchy, what it does is it gives us a very, very stable government. There are 9 constitutional.
And this government is stable?
No. You've got this is where, you see, I'm a great defender. I believe in a constitutional monarchy. I think it's the best form of government that you can possibly get anywhere. And the fact that
but if they don't have any power,
is
Then they're just figureheads for people to wave flags at.
well, yes and no. I mean, the fact of the matter is, with the constitutional monarchy, the last resort, if you wanted to overthrow the British government,
Yes.
you would still have to overthrow the monarchy, right?
Yeah.
That it is the safe.
But
It's a
I
safeguard.
always thought that the Queen, what's the King now, could dissolve Parliament.
Yes,
if
it
she
can
chose to.
under very, not chose to, under very, very unusual circumstances.
Yeah, well, she didn't get rid of Tony Blair when he came in, a little dictator. I thought the monarch was there to save us from dictatorship.
Well, the fact of the matter is Tony Blair was dictatorial, but he wasn't a dictator. He was there by the will of the people. You put him there. I put him there. Yes, we did.
I didn't.
Well,
No.
I mean, but you were given the opportunity to vote. That's the point.
Yes.
Yes. I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't disturbing. I just want to make sure that we're blaming the right section of our because to me, if in fact Parliament is doing this, that's far more dangerous than the monarch.
Well, he wouldn't have done it without Parliament, would he?
No, exactly. I mean, Parliament. I'd like you to explain.
I tell you, I think we're finished.
What?
Because they haven't even allowed this lot in Europe. They haven't quite got their foot in the door there.
Yeah.
But they're well in here now.
Okay, right. Now let's
WEF.
Let's follow that, because I think that what you're highlighting is a very proper concern. I'm just concerned that we make sure that we don't actually misguide people as to who is at fault. Is because anything that happens, and you pointed out that Tony Blair was a dictator. He called the shots. The Queen didn't call the shots.
No, she didn't.
But what we have is a system that, I mean, for instance, if you went now and you said, I'm going to take over Parliament.
Yes.
Who are you going to use to do it?
It would be the people, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean,
I couldn't do it alone, could I?
No. I mean, you'd probably need, at most countries, the armed forces would join you. You would go and actually get the armed forces, because those are the people who carry the rifles and so on.
Of course,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, in this country, who is actually head of the armed forces?
Charles.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can overthrow government if you can, but you're not going to get the army behind you. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
Those are the safeguards, which are wonderful. But anyway, I only want to make sure that we are blaming the right people that tell us what's happening, because that is a concern. Yeah.
Well, they're coming in with this. Well, they're already in by buying up the land. I mean, Gates is the biggest landowner in the world today,
Right.
I think, and for his GM crops and the GM seeds, where no one can grow anything unless they're his seeds,
Right.
GM seeds. Animals, they want to do away with totally, and make us eat bugs for the protein.
Right.
So there's bug burgers, there's bug sandwiches, and with this, they don't even have to tell us what's in the food that they're selling us.
No,
They don't have to label it.
Yeah.
So we would have no idea. I mean, we could be eating one another for all we know. And that's been done in the past,
Yes.
hasn't it?
Well, I can just imagine you would, with some relish, go up and order a Keith burger. See, she's got ways of getting back at me. Okay, now I don't wish to make light of it.
Very frightening.
You've got a lovely sense of
frightening.
humour, and to have a laugh and giggle with you at the same time as discussing serious things but essentially what you're really saying is that there are external influences that are taking over the vital parts of our society.
Very, very much so, Keith. And it's all started out Oh, and they can bring in mandatory injections, you see, because they're part of the World Health Organization too. And they're getting stronger and stronger, these people, where we will have no rights whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, now they're taking away our rights, left, right, and centre.
Okay. Now, you actually not only read, but you deal. I mean, you get in touch with the key figures who highlight these sort of things. Are you getting vibes from the people that you deal with that there are ways of dealing with this, of stopping it?
The only possible way that we can stop this, and this is applying to the world now, not just Britain, is force of numbers. There are many, many more of us than there are of them, so to speak. Force of one, and no violence, no, because that's just what they want, I promise you. And then they'll bring out the world army. You need a world army, darlings. You know, this is violence is just what they want. No force of numbers. To not acquiesce. Say, no, I'm sorry. We will not buy these sandwiches. We will not buy that food. And we will not do anything that is in our best interest.
As you say, I mean, you may be eating stuff without knowing it. So how do we identify what is dodgy?
Just don't eat it. Don't take
No,
the
but
charge.
how do I know? If I go out today and I go next door and I buy a sandwich, how do I know whether I should be eating that sandwich or not?
Well, you look and see what it contains.
Right.
And you get a little bit savvy and educated as to what these ingredients are, because they've got big, long names. And, oh, dear, you've got to look in a dictionary, dissect, hey, this happens to be poison. You know, so you don't eat it. You have to do your homework. It is essential. And you don't buy it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I will not buy that. And now Bill Gates has funded a little organization to the tune of 4-point-something million to make face masks for cows.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Now, did you see that photo? I found it so sad and so alarming. And something else strikes me. We have an RSPCA in this country, which is Royal Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, which I subscribe to, because not every country protects its animals the way we are supposed to. And I think these people should come on board and say, no, I'm sorry, we will not allow these into the country. These animals are not on the planet for very long, and they're taken off to slaughter. Now they're destroying the air that they breathe. It is terrible. I mean, cruel enough with those masks that they were suffocating us with through the pandemic. But we had a choice of saying, no, I'm not wearing this. I need oxygen to breathe. Thank you very much.
The poor old cow doesn't have a choice.
Cow does. And then, you see, they'll be bringing it on for sheep. People will be putting them on their horses, dogs, all for money, because he wants to make money out of these masks. And the anger in me is unbelievable. The people, horrendously wealthy people like that, should be allowed to get away with this.
Now, do I recall the time of this mask being talked about is that there's also to do with the flatulence?
Yes.
Right. What's that all about?
Yes.
You're sitting, if I may say so, you're sitting with an old fart.
Well, if you were, you would know about it, and I wouldn't be sitting here, I promise you. No, the cow regurgitates the air or something like that after it has eaten, called methane. And they said that goes into the air and is bad for the climate.
Right.
This makes the air hotter. Now, Gates wants to block out the sun, you see. He wants to send a big bunch of crystals up there and block out the sun to make the place cooler. He wants now.
Really, that's documented, is it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh yes. Oh God, yeah.
Right, now, tell me more about this. I mean, one of the things that I find about you coming on here and talking about things is you raise issues that I've totally new to me. I mean, we'll go in a minute to the 20-minute cities or whatever we call them.
Yes.
But is this business of sending crystals to block out the sun? How do they plan to do that?
Well, I really don't know. I suppose they'd get him up there with aeroplanes and shoot this stuff up there. I really don't. But that is what he intends to do. And when they were these masks, cover your nose up as well as your mouth. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't breathe. I need oxygen to breathe. And he seems to think that animals and people shouldn't have oxygen. Now, who is this maniac? Just because he's got a great deal of money and is heavily, heavily financed by other people as well, the right to microchip the human race the way he plans to do, and mandatory in injections. And then after all that business that people went and got these shots, he said, don't take any more of those shots. They don't do a lot of good now anyway. We've got something else you just spray on your tongue. Have that instead. I mean, this is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party on steroids.
I mean, one of the things that then has some credence to this crystal business is, as you know, I spent some considerable time in Russia.
Yes.
And I've been there a couple of times on Moscow Day when they celebrate the city and so on and so forth. And it never rains on that day.
Well, they can control the weather.
They do control the weather. Yes. They actually go and spray the clouds with whatever phosphate or something. Is to make sure that the clouds don't actually have a downpour on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
sorry to interrupt you. I'll see you later.
Grant, lovely to have known you. Grant is off to greater things. He's got a job down in Southampton, is it?
Yeah, I know it's rude to interrupt.
You'll come and see us, though, won't you?
Yeah, I'll still be back down. I'll see a month once a fortnight.
Put your face in front of the camera so people know who we're talking about.
Come on. Come on. Come and say goodbye.
I'll see you later.
All right, it's camera
shy.
My
darling. Good luck.
Okay, Grant. Yeah, one of the lovely chaps who looks after us. Yeah.
Hey, they're all leaving us. I mean, if we got bad breath or something,
they're probably listening to you and you're scaring the hell out of them.
Well, he won't be any safer down there, I promise you, than he is right here.
No, so manipulating things.
Well, they can control the weather. And they signed a paper to say that they would not use that talent for warfare. They're not supposed to use that if we are in a war. But that does say that they can control the weather. That means they're making it hotter for their convenience. For they bring on this new world order. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's unlimited. They could control that weather 50 years ago. So can you imagine what they can do now? It is petrifying, Keith. It really and truly is. And I'm so sorry that, the people have been dumbed down by the BBC for so many, many years, several generations, and they haven't had the opportunity with the internet to get the education. Because it is all there, and they're not even trying to cover it up anymore.
That's what I was going to ask you, because you highlight various things, and as I say, I'm not entirely unaware of what's going on in the world, and some of these things that you raise is I haven't heard about. Now, is you and your colleagues are very anxious and very vocal about this is happening and we've got to stop it. How are your colleagues educating people to what's going on at the moment? I mean, you're doing your bit through here, but how are the others that you're associated with doing it?
There are magnificent people out there. They've got blogs. They have their own chat shows where they interview like-minded people, and there's a lot of them out there, and they're really, really and truly, wising up. Some of them know more than others, but we're all on the same wavelength. I mean, where David Icke is concerned, he mentions lizards, that the world is run by lizards, right? Now, some people will listen to me, they do this, and then when David says, oh, no, he's gone too far. No, he's gone too far. But there are a lot of other people out there, Keith, who agree with him because they have had that experience. I haven't. Just because I haven't had the experience, I'm not going to say, no, he's wrong. It's impossible. He's gone over the top. Blah, blah. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Because we as a race are so terribly ignorant, dreadfully ignorant. There's so much out there that has been kept from us. Yes.
Well, I mean, you see, I was quite interested in what you said about food, is that the food is labelled, but it's labelled with terms that nobody would understand.
Yes.
So I look at a sandwich and I say, am I going to not eat the sandwich because it contains, and that are words that wouldn't mean anything to me.
No.
So
and you would have to have a dictionary there with you to work these words
exactly.
out.
So what's the answer on identifying a sandwich that shouldn't be eating?
If you can't read the words, don't eat it.
But that would be true of almost everything, wouldn't it? I mean, because it says Tetris Soxal.
Well, I mean, if something's got now,
white or whatever.
Yeah. If something now has aspartame in it, that is poison, and they were using that for a long time until they took it off the market. But some foods and some products do still contain it, so you look for those basic things. But if something is a bug sandwich or something like that, which is not impossible now, well, I would want to know it. Unless I knew what this contained, then I certainly wouldn't eat it, and I certainly wouldn't buy it.
Okay.
We have to learn this new language that they have done for us because they don't want us to know it.
Right, which means that one of the fight backs is that you're let me just call it your group, okay, for the sake of argument, because I know that you all talk to each other and keep one another up to date and so on. So your group is going to have to find a way of making sure that people do understand.
Yes, they are. Yes, indeed, they are, and we're doing the best, very, very best that we can. We are, but it requires a lot more people to come on board. I mean, these marches, there were thousands of people in Germany. They, believe me, Keith, you won't find it. I can find it. And the BBC certainly wouldn't tell you, but people are waking up.
Right.
They don't know what they're waking up to, but they know it. They know something is wrong.
Okay, now we are limited on time, so I think that you've made your point very forcibly. What I would like to do now is to go back to one or two things which I've considered to be important.
Yes.
And since you talked about these 20-minute towns, or
15-minute cities, aren't they? Some of them are 20 minutes.
Well,
big deal.
We won't quibble about a few minutes. Is the concept of it is I've started to see this all over the place. Yes. References to it.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you have.
Yeah,
because
and
when I first came on, you didn't know what I was talking about.
Exactly,
did you?
Exactly. So now I've started to see the references, and not least of which is a couple of people that I've known quite well, and who send me their blogs, as it were, and there's reference to it. And I may say that there is I shouldn't say surprised, but I am surprised at some people that I know who very much go along with what you're saying,
Yes,
and put it on their blogs. But is now explain again what the 15-minute town or 15-minute city
Yes.
is about, and tell me what the latest is, because you have identified Oxford as being one of the cities that's going to be altered or is being altered.
Yes.
So bring us up to date on that.
Well, Oxford, the 15-minute cities it's a city where you have, they say you have absolutely everything you need within a radius of 15 minutes. Your dentist, your doctors, your shops, your stores, your barber, your hairdressers, a little parkway for the kiddies to play. You have all that within a 15-minute radius, and you can either walk or you can ride your bike. If you have a car, you cannot drive your car around or out of this radius unless you have permission from the council. Now, then you will be allowed 100 hours a year out of the city. If you are out any longer, it will be £70 an hour fine that you will have to pay. Now, 100 hours, whether is that 2 hours a week or something there, whatever. I mean, 2 hours is nothing.
Well, yeah, it is
to get
52 weeks in the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, I mean, people are saying, and of course, correctly, that these are nothing more than holding centres. These are like miniature sort of prisons.
Right.
I mean, and the surveillance, well, we have more surveillance in Britain than anywhere else in the world. The surveillance in these little cities, so-called little cities, will be absolutely enormous. Anyway, there was one woman, residents are fed up with low traffic neighbourhoods, rebel against the scheme. Rochdale, Greater Manchester residents have had enough and have their own hands and are taking matters into their own hands by torching numbers of planters that are used close to the roads. But that is wrong, because then to torch something is violence. If they want to pick the pylons up and move them, very, very different. But to set like that, they're not aiding the cause. You know what I'm talking about, Keith. Anyway, there was Oxford residents have also taken similar action against the blockade, where a driver, and this was on the internet, a woman driver tried to drive out of the city, right, around the side of these, and there was 3 women dressed up in the jackets, the orange jackets, preventing her. She said, please, this is an emergency. I have to get out of here. I will pay the fine. I don't care about the fine, but I have to leave here. No, they wouldn't move. They were blocking her way. She couldn't get out. She got out of her car. She went up to those women. She said, now, look, I don't know who you people think you are, but I have got to get out of here. She said, what right do you have to block my way? Bingo, they cut the DV off. I never saw what reaction she got, whether she got her way or not. It was cut off.
Yes.
And no way could I find it.
No,
but she had a go. She said, what gives you the right to do this?
Yes. Well, I mean, let me ask you the question. What does give them the right to do it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, you say that the council will give permission and so on and so forth, but councils still are democratically elected.
Yes.
So why would they necessarily take the side of the people who want to clamp down on us?
I suppose they're paid, aren't they? And probably paid handsomely too.
Right. I see.
Everyone needs money, don't they?
Yeah, because we've actually got an election coming up on the 4th of May.
But I don't think it matters who you vote for, because when those people marched, a very, very big march a couple of weeks back now against these cities, they said you can march all you want. We're still going to do what we want.
Right.
They paid no attention whatsoever.
Yeah. But I mean, surely, essentially, What your group should do is attack this on the democratic level.
They've already done that.
Are they running for councils? Because if you actually control the council, then you can get rid of this other lot, can't you?
Yeah, but I think they should go and take over the council and say, "Out you go. We don't like
the way
you're doing things."
But
That's my view.
Yeah, I think it's a very sensible view. But you can do that on the 4th of May.
Can you?
Yeah, there's an election. Yeah. I mean, you know what I've been saying about local councils.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in them having party politics. I don't think that we get the quality of people anymore.
Well, no, but
surely that leaves a tremendous opportunity for your people to actually go in and run and take over the council.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if they're not doing it, then there's some reason why they can't. Or listen, Keith, or maybe they're planning it and they haven't told me. Listen, regarding, to these magnificent people that are out there trying to spread this word and do the good work. Listen, I'm minuscule. I'm nobody. Believe me.
Well,
I'm doing my little bit.
I don't think you should put yourself down because actually one of the things that you are is you're on television. And whether you like it or not, television is a very, very powerful medium still. As a matter of fact, a little thing flashed up on the screen there to say X number of people are watching us on LinkedIn right this very second.
Oh, really? Hello.
So, I mean, you do have a powerful vehicle.
This I am aware of, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I take it very, very seriously, and I'm devoting the last portion of my life to this, and I will not stop, no matter what.
Yeah.
But regarding what is happening, at a higher level, the people that organize these marches and all that, they're fantastic. They really, I'm not up there with them.
No, and if you're getting
small bananas.
If you're getting the sort of numbers out to March that you say, and that in fact, even though you don't get the wholesale coverage which you expect, is surely that indicates that you are powerful enough to make a difference.
Well, I hope I'm making a little difference.
But you and your colleagues also as a group.
Yes.
I mean, it's not as if you're. Let's face it. I mean, we call a spade a shovel on these programs. David Icke for the longest time was considered a nutter.
Well, the man suffered terribly.
Yeah.
And, when you call a man that, his family suffered too. The families with the children that go to school, they were terribly cruel.
But in fact, is in his latter days, now there are more and more people beginning to say, perhaps he's got a point.
Absolutely. When a man is banned from 28 countries, you know very well they're frightened of him. And this is one man who works out of a one-bedroom flat on the Isle of Wight.
Yeah,
has achieved all that.
Right now, is my question reverts to what I said earlier. Is surely if you've got a flagship carrier like David Icke, is that what you do is you build your objections to what's going on around somebody like that. You need a figurehead.
Well, he's my figurehead.
Right, yeah. But why isn't he lots of other people's figurehead?
Because I've been studying him for over 30 years.
Right.
And read these big, thick books, which I find very easy to read. And I reread them because the information is invaluable there. And I think like anything, you've got to read about your subject if you're going to take up something like this and learn about the world. Otherwise, you look at it, yeah, that's fine, but I can't do anything personally, so I will leave it alone. These books are, you can't leave them alone. You can't. Because once your eyes open, it doesn't close.
Yeah.
And this hasn't just opened 2 eyes. I've opened my third eye too, that they all talk about, And it's really unexplainable.
Mm.
I mean, some people study the Bible. Good book, good book. Nothing wrong with it at all. I happen to study David Icke.
Right. Okay. Now, is basically what you say is that much of what you object to is taking place because it is money people who are behind it, and they can afford, therefore, to launch these.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Why doesn't David Icke get some money people on his side so that he could actually increase his influence and power?
I wish he had, and if I could raise him some money, I really would. I tell you, I told you if I had a massive win on the football pools, I'd give it to him. I really would.
But
because that pretty girl there, comes to work every day. I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. We're gonna leave this world to her and her children. Oh no, come on, that's a wicked, terrible thing to do. We've got to do the best we can while we're alive, Keith.
I agree. But what I'm really asking is generally speaking, not 100% of people with money would necessarily follow Schwab, etc. Why doesn't David Icke or whoever is your group, as it were, try to attract some of these people so you've got also the power of cash?
I wish you would. And I wish I knew some people like that. But that's why I sound not so good when I talk about these celebrities that are in the business that I was in. I think they are disgusting. They're making absolute fortunes there. They should be setting an example to young people. But you have Madonna with the satanic business and the others saying, oh, climate change, yes, we've got to do all this and all that. And they're flying around on expensive jets, and talking about air pollution. This, I can only think that they're so used to the great deal of money that they have, and they're petrified of losing it. Which, to take the side that I'm on, they probably would lose their money because these people are so powerful they can ruin you at the drop of a hat. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's fair on their part of losing what they've got.
Right. Okay. Now we always try to pack in an awful lot into the time available. I see that it's 10:47, so we've got 5 minutes or so left. And whenever you come on, you've always got half a dozen things that are happening. So let's move away from what we've talked about so far. And what else is on your agenda? What else is happening?
Well, I have some letters out of some people that I'm hoping to interview face to face. Some of them live in different parts of Britain, so I have to take myself and a camera crew there,
right,
to do what I want, because I have the other line, which is everyone has a story with Liza Page,
right,
which I want to put on that as some people's stories, and that I'm really looking forward to. But something I'm hoping to get an interview with Robert Kennedy Jr. over there in the States, because I admire the man's work and what he's trying to do so much. Life is a little bit exciting for me at the moment. I'm trying to crowd as much as I possibly can into the time that I have left on the planet, so that I can be sort of a conduit for these people to get their voices out, who know far more than I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you just said that people that you would like to interview. Who have you got lined up that you are going to interview?
I'm not saying, it's a surprise.
Okay, that's fair enough. But
yes,
I mean,
it's very exciting people, I can tell you.
I would tell viewers that Liza, and I'm being quite serious now because I know I tease her a lot, she is working very hard to make sure that she interviews people who have got an alternative view, if you like. and it's very important that that those people are interviewed, because that's the way of getting the message out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's some lovely people out there, but as I say, I time is of the essence with me now, and unless they're on my wavelength, there's no point, is there?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you're taking that tack, because what you're doing is you're using your skill and expertise as a journalist and an interviewer to actually bring some of the information. See, if I'm going to be critical of your group, is I don't think that you're telling people enough. You raise some very good points when you have your slot here each week, but I don't hear that coming from some of the other people that you quote. But it's surely, if you all start to sing from the same hymn sheet, that hymn will get stronger and stronger.
Yes. Well, the David Icke Alternative channel, I mean, is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and they've had some very, very powerful, good people on there, and those two boys, they work so hard. They've just taken in another fellow called Brackpool, and he's very good.
Right.
He's a lovely asset to the show. But they have to be careful what they say, otherwise they will be taken off. So, all these marvelous people are still working with their arms tied behind their back, except David. He'll say anything. God bless him. He will say anything, because he's got nothing to lose. They've already banned him. They've already stopped him going into countries, so he should worry.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that to have got those sort of restrictions lifted would be a key point, because that would send a message out to the general public. Because let's face it, Liza, you have got to be, your guys have got to be missionaries. You're not going to get the average person in the street saying, "Oh my goodness me, that's dreadful," and doing anything about it.
No,
that's not people's nature, unfortunately. You have to keep on at them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you very readily come and kick my ass. Why don't you go and kick the ass of some of your colleagues and say, "Get with it, get on with it"?
Well, I'm not up there with them, am I? I'm rattling around Lewis. It's a very tiny town, but I do harass a lot of people here, I promise you. And some of them do. "Oh, yes, nice to see you," and run away.
Well, if it's any comfort to you, that's exactly what happened to Tom Paine.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yes, he used to do, in some ways, what you did about the rights of man and so on in The Crown, and they barred him. So they said, "You're not coming in here anymore because the regulars are leaving because you keep on talking about the same thing." He came over here and he turned it into, as it says on the plaque outside, the cradle of American independence.
There we go.
So it shows it can be done.
What a marvelous man. It can be done.
Okay, now.
Okay, so the next time we go over there for lunch and they ask us to leave, will you still say, "Get on your soapbox"?
They wouldn't dare. All right, now I'm just giving an eye on the, because I want to make sure 53. We've got 6 minutes left. Is what else have you got on your agenda? Even if you only mention that you're going to talk about it in the future, what other things are happening? Because I know that you watch fastidiously and you talk and communicate with all sorts of people about all sorts of things. What other sort of things are you keeping your eye open for, and what sort of things should we be keeping our eye open for?
People like me. You should have more people like me on your show, and I think we have to start doing some advertising to bring them on. But as I told you before, Keith, they're frightened. They're frightened, my love. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mentioned something to a very dear friend of mine. Was detrimental to the king. He'll know about that. What you've said about him, I said, good. No, but you see, the countries are run by fear. Governments put the fear of God into people so that they will do as they're told.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the churches.
Yeah.
I mean, you join a church and you've got to pay them money, whether you're working or whether you're not.
Yes, you see, my argument is that I am a great believer in the freedom of speech, as you well know.
Yes.
I mean, that's what this television station is all about.
Exactly.
I don't stop anybody, and as long as they don't perform libel or obscenity from saying what they want to say.
Yes.
And to me, that is the way of changing people's thinking. But by the same token, is you know, I can give them the platform, but when you bring the horse to water, you can't necessarily force them to drink.
Absolutely, this is what I'm saying.
And it's not my job to actually force them here. It's your job to force them here.
And then that is very difficult. I mean, come on, when you and I have been out for lunch, lots of little people there say they're going to come and do your show, youngsters that have got a passion and a drive, and then they bottle out at the last
that's
minute.
the other question that I need to ask you is because David Icke is no spring chicken anymore, and a number of the people that the authors and speakers and so on who support very much what you're talking about are of a certain age. Is surely one of the things that you're going to have to do is to concentrate on getting younger people to follow this sort of thing.
Well, actually, I'm doing a couple of shows which are on Rumble with the young man that used to work here,
right,
called Max Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
And I've called the show Age and Youth. And every week we get a show out where we talk very strongly about what I'm talking to you, and he has the young input, which is invaluable.
Right.
Yes. Because with my optimism, I say, yes, we're going to do this and so forth. And then he'll say, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Come on, tell me why. Because there is a law against that, and and they're making it impossible to do. Now, I know that Max is the exception to the rule at 19 years of age, but he is just one. There must be others out there like him. And he listens to podcasts all day long. And I learn a lot from him. I really do. And he says that this young generation, the drugs are rampant. They don't want to know. They have no interest. And we're doing the best. But, I rant and rave. No, cut it. Why? Because they'll cut us off. That's why. He knows all the rules that I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he knows what we can get away with and what we can't. But we got away with quite a bit. So we're a little bit proud of ourselves. So watch out for that. We're just starting. So the following is slowly but surely building up. But we'll keep going. We'll keep going with it because we love it. We like what we do.
That's very important.
Yes.
Is you need the enthusiasm. What you
absolutely
what you do, because that will see you through a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Liza, you'll be back next week.
Yes.
And,
thank you.
I mean, there are two things that you do, and I find very successfully, is you research heavily between now and next week when you're here. You research heavily, so you've got all sorts of new stuff to put to us. But then you remind us about some of the things that you've been talking about in the past, and I particularly like the updates that you give on the 15-minute cities.
Yes, and I think there'll be more and more of those to talk about, because people are not going to let that go. They're not going to find it that easy to bring these in, Keith. I promise you.
Right. Well,
promise you that.
then what we're able to do is to bring you in to make sure that when you make these promises, you're keeping up to them.
I should do my best. I like to keep my promises. I really do. If it's humanly possible, I like to keep a promise.
Okay, now we are taking a short break over the next 2 days. Tomorrow is a public holiday, and so is Monday. And we don't broadcast. It's not because we're lazy, but it's the profile of people viewing changes. The big boys, the BBC and ITV, they change their programming for public holidays because they can afford to. We can't. And rather than beat our gums, as the Jamaicans would say, and talk to dead air and seem silly about it, it's better that we actually take a little time away. Not only that, but there's an awful lot of work that needs to be done, even for a little television station like this, in the background, and we need a bit of time to do it as well, because when my mind wanders, as it sometimes does, at 8 o'clock in the morning when I start to do the news with you, it's because I've been up until some ungodly hour the night before, and I'm half asleep. We can't have that. No sleeping on the job, on this job, because everybody bloody knows that you're doing it. So we will be back Tuesday morning at 8:30 with the team, and it's expanding bit by bit, I'm happy to say. And seasoned broadcasters or seasoned people who we had a very nice insight from Suzanne Mucho the other day, because we talked about 9/11 and the fact that the people at St. John's, Newfoundland, where Gander Airport is, opened up their homes to the people that were stuck on the planes there.
Yeah.
And it turns out that her husband is from Newfoundland, and that there is this marvelous hotel tucked away in the middle of nowhere. And she's been there.
Is it made of ice?
Not quite, but damn near, yes. And she's gathering some photos and so on, so we can do a little bit on it. And that's one of the nice things, is that we do bring things to you from the rest of the world where others do not. So we have exclusives. They may not be earth-shattering, but you give you a view on things that are happening elsewhere. And we're now, we're at 1 minute, 2 minutes over. Say toodle pip.
Toodle pip. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you soon. Bye-bye.
We'll see you Tuesday. At least I'll see you Tuesday, if I don't actually get terribly drunk and drift off on an iceberg to look after the penguins or something as daring and as stupid as that. No, don't listen. Don't listen to me. I'm getting D-mob happy. Toodle pip.
Thank you.